February 24, 1214 Pim. District Court, courtroom, no 2. Not 9.
Oh, that's not
I'm
9.
pretty sure it's 9.
That's what the NO stands for. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Sky.
The period is the T. All right. Whew.
Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. We've taken one indie character and given you another. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it.
Oh, I know. You're a patrolman.
If you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out.
Marshall.
To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
Howling wind. I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before.
Oh. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner.
What do you mean?
A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up.
Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English.
Day of the crime. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They say I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon on the time I went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail.
I can't say I particularly care for your attitude.
I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Damn.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I'm in the security system and the security camera and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks and the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint-activated locks? Kind of a newfangled doohickeys are those?
He's not being very helpful.
He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Oh, God. Oh, disgusting. I just choked on my own spit. Everyone's got their weaknesses.
What? Out your own spit?
I choked on my own spit there, partner.
Oh, choked. I heard poked. I poked out my own spit. I didn't know what you meant by...
I poked my finger down my throat and triggered my gag reflex. That's to vomit up the alcohol so I can re-drink it all again. Saves a buck.
Can you say that again, but slower?
No. Mr. Prosecutor.
This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours.
Oh. All right.
Bone Orchard, I'm assuming, is the evidence room.
I assume so.
Should we ask?
Yeah, let's ask.
How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room?
I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings.
You interred them?
Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life.
This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, In actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. All right. Yeah. It's supposed to make 3 rounds a day. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right?
Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
No desperado I know lets rules get in his way.
No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime...
Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day.
There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that?
Sorry, partner, I can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks.
How does this guy avoid being fired?
Oh, you know what? We can probably just present the blood print on here, right? Yeah, because there's a fucking bloody handprint. Do we have the actual fingerprint record?
He says that he doesn't go in, so we would probably... I don't know if we could present it here.
Oh yeah, Marshall's fingerprints.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd go on the time that it went down, because this is referencing like the time. Was he drinking on the job? Is that a good question to ask? Kind of curious.
I think he just wasn't at his job, or he's saying he wasn't, right?
I still want to know if he admits to drinking on the job.
Do you want me to press this one?
Yes, can we go back? No,
wrong way. I gotta...
The one that he talks about going to the street. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall.
That's
More
right,
like out of
partner.
brain cells. Can we click on the right one?
Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset.
One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything.
Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that.
Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, though, I better up the ante.
Fine.
Thank you. What were you doing in a place like that?
I was eating spaghetti.
You got
Not
me.
even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's vongole CPO pasta.
You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles?
Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
I want that tattooed on my grave.
On your grave?
That's not what I meant. I hope this has taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says. Don't you not want to raise this year? Do you want to hit him with the... Let's hit him with the... Actually, we can hit it on the ammo line with the evidence.
Yeah, we got ammo.
Yeah, fuck you. Look at this. Got him. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime.
And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner.
It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint.
Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, I make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints will be in there.
I only wish you were, officer.
Wait, so he's supposed to go in there 3 times a day and he goes in there like once a month?
Yeah, he works for the government, it's okay.
You're right.
But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Well, blood. I mean, it is an evidence room, right? Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall?
Seems to me that all we see violence in movies and sex on TV.
We're so back.
All right.
If you like us being back, hit us with a follow, like, and
You
subscribe.
love Family Guy. Tweet us. There ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders.
Ah!
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints?
Very well. You may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime.
Blood-stained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it.
How does he know the murderer was wearing gloves?
I don't know.
The witness's explanation appears valid. Although there's room for doubt.
Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
Spoken like a true murderer. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it.
So there's a pretty clear press on how did he know. There's also
and I would bet you $1 right now that we have to watch the video again to show that he was wearing gloves or not. How do you know that?
I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. Was a bloodstain at the scene, though thought to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on the Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer, wearing gloves, happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint.
That's the only logical conclusion.
I can't let him squirm out of this one. I've got to find something. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime.
okay.
Can we look at the fingerprint?
No.
That's...
It was,
okay,
it was,
yes.
So the fingerprint
Because there
we
were two
found was
places
not.
that we found fingerprint.
Yeah. So we had the one fingerprint that was clearly wiped away. Like they were wearing gloves, so there wasn't actually a fingerprint. This blood, and that left a visible blood stain. This was like a hidden blood stain that was wiped away. We found the fingerprints on the non-wiped away part.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. But this was not on Gumshoe's locker with the non-fingerprint one. So,
Yeah.
how do we present that?
I wonder where this was. We could.
Yeah. Okay. Press the.
Wrong one. Sorry. Yep. No, you're right.
That's
You're
because
right,
you.
you're right.
How did you put it? Pay your respects once a month.
Yeah, that's right. And one more thing. That locker happens to be mine.
What? What do you mean?
I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams.
I see.
It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker.
Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it.
Okay. I mean, that's the question we wanted to ask either way.
You starting to get the picture, partner?
The picture.
This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this.
Security tape.
So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Okay, can we watch the video? We might have to look and see if he's...
Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at the video real quick.
Press it.
What do you mean by that?
You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could just leave the room without being caught on tape.
Objection. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright.
And Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates
Oh.
Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Okay. Before we click on things, no ID badge, no trophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then no knife, not the parking stub, not the blue badger, probably.
Look at that fucking menace.
Hero. No.
Nope. This all went to the real crime.
What's like the shoe? Right. From.
Right.
I didn't like look at it, just the description.
Oh,
if I could. All good. Blood for okay, so that one was definitely from the other crime scene. So no. Luminol.
Let's spray the judge.
The ID card record. We have 7777777 at 420.
Like way earlier, yeah.
We don't know who that was.
Yeah, it's true.
But he would have to be in there for a very long time.
Yeah, and Edgeworth would not have seen him, I guess.
But yeah, it's also who came in with Bruce Goodman's tag, who would have the most access to Bruce Goodman's tag.
Whoever stole it.
And also, wait. Yeah, wait, no, okay. Never mind. I was going to say, how did Bruce Goodman go in before Mike Meekins? It's like the whole point of the video.
Yeah, he was in there like slightly earlier.
Yeah, within the same minute. Okay. What's the screwdriver from? That's from Edgeworth's car, right? Yeah, because that was required for something.
Yeah, I wanted him to get it. Let's see. There's...
What does the locker say again? So it has to do with the video, right? Is what the whole judge is saying right now. Can we watch the tape one more time?
Can we just ship it first to see what the question is? Like, we have enough damage or whatever. Show this.
Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake.
Oh, that's not reassuring.
Now then, let's have another look at the video.
Fast forward at least.
Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Okay, so we just can't be wrong, Indy, because now this is going to count against us. Still no blood. Still the correct time. Glove fell out. Still the correct time. No blood. Yeah, the body... Like, where does the body go?
I mean, it could theoretically be off screen.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Oh,
okay.
That man's schmoovin'. I'm gonna kill this badger, dude. It kind of looks like... Look at a thing that says, like, die. You know? Look at the badger hitting him. Die. I'm losing it.
So, wait. Why is there... Wait. Can you go back. To, when they're fighting?
Yeah.
Okay, pause. Whenever you can see him on the left side. Right there. Okay.
Bro, Meekins is pissed. Look at that.
That is the most Robbie Rotten image I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, this would be our best indication of whether he was wearing gloves or not. Is there blood on his hands? I mean, that's probably not good evidence to go off of.
So these models are too low quality and he only has like 3 fingers or 4 fingers.
Yeah. So, but there's blood on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Okay, he slashed and then Meekins grabbed him. That's where the blood came from on him.
Oh, yeah, because Meekins got cut. That's right.
Yeah, Meekins gets his hand slashed immediately upon the other thing. And then he gets knocked out, right? He punches Meekins in the face, knocking him out.
Yep.
Yeah, if Meekins killed him, we never see him leave is like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Goodman has to leave.
I think I noticed something on the last cutover when it refreshed back to the start. Watch this. There's this. It's not there.
Oh! You're
okay. Yeah,
you're a little genius.
Yeah, I only saw it because it starts and ends in the same camera position when it refreshes. Okay, I'm assuming that's it.
Hopefully,
and
why they did that.
Yeah, and that was Officer Marshall's locker, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Boom. Easy peasy.
Easy.
Good spot, dude. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid that you'll soon not forget, Mr. Marshall.
The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less?
Very well. You can be clearly seen in this video.
Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Bruce Goodman costume. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Oh my god.
Oh.
Sound like Edgeworth. I'm a voice actor.
Randy sounds like me.
Yes. Whoa! Oh! The white cloth! It's gone! What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Oh, wow. Whoever spotted that must be a mega genius. Order! Order!
Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was opened? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man?
This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, partner, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker.
Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say open that locker, now prove it.
Okay, we can use that. The evidence locker.
A fingerprint sensor?
We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detective they belong to.
What kind of crazy talk is this?
Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people who, of course, don't know about the fingerprint locks.
So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
I only got one word for you, partner. Fuck! No!
That was 9. For anybody counting. Order! 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 Witness! Explain yourself!
If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard.
I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay! Please, answer the question! What is he now? A bullfighter? That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet, Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness?
It seems Mr. Wright has an answer.
That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime?
V stands for Marshall.
Wait, but he's the one with the knife.
No, but he's not the killer. He was or Goodman was the victim in this. Yeah.
Officer Marshall was standing right here. But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman.
Objection! Well, that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure.
Oh, that was you.
May I point out to you that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman? He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
Right, so I asked him to show his cards, sir.
Yes? How did Detective Goodman respond? Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
We cannot see that.
Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say about this, Officer Marshall?
You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim.
I can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition.
I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Again.
Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Please? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Not dessert.
This can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do?
It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics.
Basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me.
Oh god, I'm here. I think I was alive.
I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in the disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place?
What do you mean?
There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later as it has been.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason.
The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside.
So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. I agreed. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. The blood on his shoulder.
Yeah, that's the blood.
And this is so much work. So exhausted from all of this hard work that we have to do.
I have to hold
Also,
the
this is why
A
you
button.
shouldn't wear the same clothes every single day. Pause, click.
Yeah, otherwise you're getting impersonated by a cowboy.
Well, for some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room. Oh, I don't know what to what end yet.
Yet?
However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing has been soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that. You had to hide the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner.
Wow,
That's pretty
partner.
good.
That sounds fun to say. I need
Oh,
to say this
are they
more in
married?
day-to-day life. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth?
Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth.
What?
2 years ago, you were only half as persistent then as you are today. We all wouldn't have to be here now would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
All right. Seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
So, the supposed victim was really you.
But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation.
Oh boy, I think we're gonna want to press all these.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this.
When you say it, you mean
Do you even have to ask, partner?
the SL9 incident.
2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
That day was my last chance. That's why
Yeah, this is all good information, I think.
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera.
And the detective's ID
I
card.
stole that the morning of the incident.
Okay, that makes sense.
So that's really why Goodman started filling out that lost item report.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall.
He was there first. Okay, all right, that makes sense.
So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself.
But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
Alright.
You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off?
Let's just say I was a little surprised.
It wasn't that knife.
Yes.
He shaved it after he fucking stabbed me.
Yep.
I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time.
Officer Meekins certainly is a one-in-a-million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding him to be shown his ID.
I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way, with me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one?
I don't know what to say. So you knocked out Officer Meekins and...
Managed to escape. Yep. Well, probably didn't need to press that one, that's fine.
So, you did your research beforehand?
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekins doing during that time?
What else? It was sleeping like a baby.
So what you're saying is, on that day...
A murder in the evidence room.
But the blood from the found at the crime scene certainly indicates the crime took place.
What, are you blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone.
What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence?
It's still missing, Your Honor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
That's
Phoenix Wright
difficult.
fucking took it and ran.
Detective Goodman's locker was already empty? Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. Ha, that's how you know this wasn't American originally. Anyway, it can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with.
The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more.
Forget the SL incident. Objection. Yeah.
But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room.
Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is that he deserved his sentence.
I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it?
I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about.
What happened?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is.
What?
I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. I better take another look at the files. Yeah,
okay.
Can we look to see maybe the victims are related to him or something?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Serial murder, sentenced to death. Okay. Victims, Neil Marshall.
Yeah.
Boom.
Okay. Let's give us another full look through. Yep.
Miles Edgeworth. Who are the other victims also when we get the chance?
Yeah,
Edwards Jones.
Edward Jones.
Jason Knight, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, and then Kirby.
Not Kirby.
I'm invested in this case now.
Yep. Okay, everyone's here. This is the opposite of World of Light. Yeah. Kirby died. Everyone else has to
live on.
There you go.
Except for the other 5 people that are
on,
dead.
you know. Yeah. Let's go Smash Bros.
Wow. I had Smash Bros. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
I have the SL9 incident file here.
Chad, this is not an appropriate time to ask if the cowboy guy is hot or not.
The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of that name. 2 years ago.
Oh.
He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SO9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands.
But what's his relation to you?
He was my brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then deputy chief of police. He was also cowboy themed. Oh, that's him in the bottom left. You couldn't see him from the text box. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them. Alright, Chad, is anyone in this photo not a smash?
Detective Goodman.
Damn. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Would you smash this man, Chad? Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was... Oh God, I've never said this word out loud. I'm gonna say it wrong on purpose. Aragonid. Aragonid. And incarcerated. And the case is finally closed. At least according to the public records.
What do you mean?
My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me.
Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department at the day of the crime.
That was the last day the SO9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day.
Ah!
The things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office, This fake murder was going on at the police department.
Chance. It's got to be more than just that. All right, hold on. Side note, right?
Yeah.
The guy that said that his brother could never be beaten in a fight is also the guy that managed to take down the actual serial killer of Officer Meekins.
Meekins was not satisfied with his brother, and he came back to finish off Jake.
Exactly. So no matter whatever we could like, if this guy couldn't, if he could beat Meekins and his brother can beat him, think about how powerful his brother is.
This man, 22 years old, already a serial murderer. Holy shit.
He was a serial murderer 2 years ago.
What a zoomer. Deceased?
Yeah, zooming through his body count. Not that kind.
Deceased. I like that they were both cowboy themed.
Well, yeah. They came from Texas. So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one.
Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection! Which is why we examined the evidence at the police department today.
But
There's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me... no more Family Guy. I had to find my inner demons there. This boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries of the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye, and the testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable.
excuse me, we exclusively contested it, and she's a freaking liar.
But you never disproved that the culprit wasn't Lana. I guess, I don't know. If you have a response, make it a single word or less.
Objection.
It's not a word, but alright, I'll take it.
Or less.
I rest my case.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good
He rests
case,
his
Jerome.
case.
Okay.
Seems this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt.
Well done, Mr. White. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. That apparent murder on the security cameras tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. It doesn't, though. Now then, the time for this verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Let's go.
Mister, hold it.
What?
Emma, yep.
Your Honor, wait.
Emma!
The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh,
Please, Your
in
Honor,
a sense.
all I'm asking is for minutes of your time. Actually, just 1 minute even. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
Aw. Edgy boy.
Edgy poo! I was kind of in a shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings.
Now that she mentions it, the names of both Sky sisters were in that file.
That's when I figured it out. And what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day? So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on the Detective Gumshoe's locker?
But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again.
So, did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have.
And a
If we
good
can't
clue.
find something wrong with them. Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lon, it's you.
Me? Oh, boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident with the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain?
It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this blood print?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I've ever needed to concentrate, it's now. All right. The issue that I've got, right? And what could be wrong with that? Could there be something I'm missing? I object because there was so much blood on the floor that wouldn't have all come from Meekins.
Right.
Right? And all the evidence is missing. So why is there some very heavily injured person here taking the evidence out of Bruce Goodman's locker? Can we wait, court record, can we check the ID badge timing?
Yeah.
Because we still have 77777 who okay, so that wasn't with Bruce Goodman. We still don't know who that one person is that came in earlier.
And Miles came in 20 minutes later.
Yeah, so that would be a lot of time to have a lot of blood, and also, like, that. Where does all this blood come from is, like, 90% of the question, because it couldn't have all come out of Meekins.
Like it could be, like, maybe half Meekins, but that'd still mean that someone else is there, right?
Yeah, and Meekins wouldn't have gotten his handprint on that locker either. So, it wasn't Marshall, because there's no fingerprints.
Right.
Because that one was still visibly bloody, and he wasn't wearing gloves because he left fingerprints on the thing that he wiped away.
Yeah.
So, it also makes sense. If you look at what fingerprints left blood, that's his middle index and pinky, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the one holding the backside of the knife, right?
Yep.
So if he had to, like, push Meekin's bleediness away or whatever, that would be the fingers that he would, like, get bloody, I guess. Not super relevant to the rest of the point, but there's still a lot of blood that's missing. That handprint that's there, and we don't know who this other person is. Now, 20 minutes. If I was actually Phoenix, right? He just talks out of his ass and then, like, arrives at a conclusion. My question is, how does somebody lose that much blood at 4:20-ish, maybe, clean all of it up, and disappear before Miles Edwards shows up?
Exactly.
Otherwise, because it also couldn't have been Bruce Goodman / Jake Marshall, because he left immediately after dealing with Meekins.
Right.
Like, he was gone.
Right. I mean, let's object here first. Maybe there's more context
Yeah.
that we'll get.
Yeah. This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
Huh. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright.
You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Please tell me, is there a problem with them? Now, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
It's the large amount of blood.
Yeah, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove something is missing from the floor plans?
Yeah, we've got like 25 pieces of evidence.
So that vase is a large one.
Consider the following.
Testing fluid, but...
What about that piece of plywood?
The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here.
So?
So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime.
Oh, yes.
Well,
yeah. Yep. Because
how do you
the
put your
handprint
hand
could have
there,
gotten
huh?
there. Yeah.
Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the locker.
What? Damn.
Oh, wow. The Blue Badger's pretty clutch. Good thing it's evidence. So, that means, just what exactly does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
Sir, I think through it scientifically.
Emma.
Teleport's right of you. On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After you put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So, that must mean that this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. May sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. And the problem is, the other time... someone bled prior to the struggles shown on this tape. It had to have been.
You'd have to show us that.
It had to have been. Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection! That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark left on the locker.
Objection! So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred.
When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman...
Oh, God.
Another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well. Then tell us. When did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edgeworth said, proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? Timestamps, baby.
Yeah. Where is that record? There we go.
Boom. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have had to been required. An ID card. Oh, the ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at... Gosh, let's see here. 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ah! Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done?
I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it.
I'm afraid that I don't understand either.
It's clear from the luminol test that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer.
I would have just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible.
That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Let's look at this chart again. There's only one other card number remaining. 77777777.
Talk about a lucky number.
But wait, that doesn't make any sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Well, since there's no record of his card being used there beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777777. That was one too many sevens, my bad.
Wow.
Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose number is 77777777.
That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor.
Oh, let's go.
Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present.
What?
Explain yourself, son. The ID number 777777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
That's ridiculous. Just how are we...
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. Also, chat, fuck you. There's one situation in which we can be granted such authority.
If an official charge is filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
That's kind of right, yeah.
Objection! I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her and the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
Lana?
Objection! Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 777777. 7. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident.
The SL9 incident.
Answer me this, Chief Prospector. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence?
Wow.
You need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor.
I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. And at the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. Before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying?
I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did?
Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana... Even if it involved forging evidence.
See? That's what I'm talking about. No. No!
Whoa, this is messed up. Order.
Holy shit, I'm jazzed. I hate the prosecution.
Anna's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusion of the trial would have to wait until the following day.
Oh, free day.
Now, to be continued.
Wow, to be continued.